Day 35, week 5 of building and being and creating my best self, my best life. 5 weeks, that's insane. And this fifth week was actually such a fun week for me. I had a lot of wins. I'm really proud of myself as far as gym time goes. I'm seeing actually a lot of strength gains, which is really exciting. I do have a couple of goals in the gym. One of them is being able to do 10 pull-ups unassisted by the end of the year, and I think I'm actually on track to be able to do that by the end of December, so very exciting. And then I was having a little bit of a hard day, and I actually was able to identify the feeling of, oh crap, I'm feeling inadequate, which is what I was feeling. And I'm proud of myself for being able to identify what is this thing that's kind of causing me a little bit of distress internally. I won't say that I did much with it, but it did help knowing what I was feeling and being able to name that. It always makes a world of difference for me. So that was a win. I was consistently checking in with myself every morning last week, and week 5 as well. So always a good thing. It definitely does make a difference in my day, and while maybe I'm not super focused and honed in on that check-in and kind of carrying that with me throughout my day, it does make a difference. It feels just a little bit more intentional, and there's kind of just this little, I guess, little whisper of intentionality throughout my day, which does make a big difference. So maybe it's not in front of my face, obvious all day, every day, but it does do enough that I can actually notice a difference in how I feel and how I carry myself, and also how well I can observe myself throughout my day. So I think that has been super helpful. We'll definitely continue to do that. And then honestly, week 5 was just a super fun week for me because I got to go backpacking through Yellowstone with one of my best friends, and that was it just fills my soul so much. Those are being out in nature, hiking, not being around anybody is just my favorite thing. And so having a weekend to go explore a national park like Yellowstone in the backcountry was so much fun. Things did not go according to plan, but it was such a good practice of adaptability, flexibility, and just realizing at the end of the day, with one of my favorite people and exploring a beautiful place, and no matter what, we were gonna have a good time. So it was fantastic. So grateful. I haven't been able to do much of that this summer, so having a weekend where I finally got to go out and do that was perfect. As far as opportunities go, I think that feeling of inadequacy that came up was a bit hard for me to just sit with and let it be and just kind of observe. It was kind of taking me for a little bit of a loop, and so I think opportunity is one. Really proud of myself for just acknowledging what I was feeling and naming it. Next step would be, okay, now how can I just observe and just third-party observation? Oh, that's interesting. Instead of really letting that start to kind of mean something about me, because I definitely started to kind of go down that rabbit hole of, oh, I feel inadequate, and now I'm assigning all this meaning of that. So that's a really big opportunity for me. It's definitely not going to happen overnight. So it's just going to be practice, little steps, and doing it when I'm able to catch it and notice it. The other big opportunity actually came up in Yellowstone. Part of people pleasing, and I might have mentioned this before, but part of people pleasing is I have taken on so much of what everyone else expects and wants and cares about and all those things that it can be really challenging to pick apart what am I saying to myself, what does my gut tell me, what do I think, and there was a moment this weekend where I was just very indecisive, and I've been a very indecisive individual for a while. Making decisions can feel really hard for me because as a people pleaser, I don't want to disappoint anybody, I don't want to upset anybody, I don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make them mad at me for the decision that I've made. And just a couple of times this weekend, like I was very indecisive, and it was this place of like, oh shoot, I'm like really afraid of what my friend, like how she'll respond to that. So that is something that I know and have known is a big factor for me and thing that I need to focus on and work on, and recognizing that at the end of the day, like, one, to trust myself, and part of that is making decisions, and just in the small ways, like what do I want to eat, making that decision, which I don't think it's like that bad, but for example, but really just giving myself permission to make a choice and let it be. I don't need to second guess myself, especially with some of those decisions that were coming up. It was so minor and inconsequential that it didn't matter what I chose, really. One of them did actually matter, but I think just it's hard. But I think one of the things is just practicing making decisions is a way that I can help build my sense of self-trust and ability to make decisions. And so I think really kind of leaning into that into the coming weeks of how can I practice being decisive. And again, some of that is going to come up for me of like, this is what I want for dinner. This is what I'm gonna wear. No, I do not want to do that. Or this is when I will go do that. It is a process, to say the least, but that is definitely something that I am going to be focusing in on, because it was so clear this weekend. When I am with other people, it feels very scary for me to make a decision that will impact other people, because I don't want anybody to be mad at me. So at the end of the day, though, that is not on me. My responsibility is to be as honest and as kind as I can when I'm delivering whatever it is I'm delivering, and how other people take that is on them. That is their responsibility, and that is a hard one to let go of. However, I have been able to do that in these last 5 weeks, but just again, it came up again this weekend for me pretty hard, and I'm not sure why. That's an interesting thought, actually. What was it about this situation that made it feel so much harder and scarier for me to make a decision? I'll have to think on that one. But yeah, so those are my reflections for week 5. Overall, an awesome, incredible week. Really looking forward to what week 6 brings, and just gonna keep focusing on being decisive and making decisions and letting that be what it is, as well as all of the other things of exercise, checking in with myself, and continuing to notice the feelings, and how can I just notice and observe without judgment. So on to week 6.